do too.
So you two were born in southern Georgia and spent most of your, well, you, Gloria, your whole adult life, and Mom until you were what, 50, 40 something, you moved down to New Mexico?
Yeah, I lived in Brunswick and Jacksonville and Folkestone. All my people was there.
So your growing up days, you didn't move away from the South until you were way into an adulthood. So both of y'all know that one of the big topics in the country right now is what's going on race-wise. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff regarding race.
So in this video, two white Southern grannies share their perspectives on racism while growing up in 1950s as teenagers when they started being integrated with Black people in schools and communities. And actually, stick with me, you guys. One of the grannies confesses that her own father was a racist. And that was before she got to realize that even her granny was racist and how they badly treated dark-skinned people. Now, they say so many things, including how nobody cleaned black bathrooms and white bathrooms were always cleaned and they smelled so good. But in the midst of all this, Black people still maintained their sweet personalities. I want you to take a listen to this and I'll be right back.
That people are talking about today, but I recognize y'all were born in the early and middle 1940s, and when you became teenagers in the 1950s, segregation was going on in the South, and racism.
Coming to an end then.
Okay, but racism was at its all-time high when y'all, well, other than slavery. But I want to get your memories of what you remember at that time, what it was like being a teenager, how that made y'all feel, and what you witnessed during these times.
You want to go first?
Oh, yes. We didn't, we was always strictly whites in our school. And when I was coming up, you know, everybody was white. Everybody was white. And then when they started integrating, you know, it still did not, it didn't bother me. I didn't like some of the things that the Ku Klux Klan done. I did not like that at all. Even as a child, I knew that's not right to treat the Black people like that.
We had a mother,
Yeah.
a Christian mother,
a Christian
that kept
mother.
us straight, that
Yeah.
God loved them just
Yeah.
like He loved us.
That's right.
And that's where where my father was racist, very racist.
Yes,
And
Daddy was.
I didn't know my grandmother was until a talk on the porch we had one day. But the whole, are you through?
Tell me about what you
Go ahead, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
tell me about what you saw your grandmother do.
We were sitting on the front porch and on Jacksonville, Florida. We had big white rocking chairs on this old mansion, used to be at one time, and they fixed it up, and it was a beautiful home. And we were sitting on the front porch, and this elderly Black lady come walking by with her hair tied up and taking her groceries home, and just walking along. And Grandma said, "Look at there. She thinks she's just as good as anybody." And I'd never heard her say anything like that. And I said, "Well, Grandma, she is. She's not hurting nobody." I said, "She's just taking her groceries home." Well, at the time, the Black Panthers was fighting for civil rights and stuff, and it was all over the TVs. And she says, "Well, you just wait. One day they're going to be marrying and marry white and black and everything, then you'll see. You'll see." Oh, well, she was right. That's exactly what happened. But I'd never heard Grandma talk that way, talk down, because she wasn't doing anything, just going home. But if it wasn't for a Black woman, my Daddy couldn't have made it. Grandma could not feed Daddy, but there was a Black woman that worked for them that was feeding her baby, so she fed Daddy, because Grandma's milk had dried up. He was fed and kept alive by a Black woman. And this is something they didn't like to talk about too much, but I know because I heard it. And they used her like a cow, is what they did. Instead of, I don't know if they ever thanked her for what she did for Daddy, but Grandma had 7 children, and Daddy was the baby. and she was in her 40s. He was a change of life baby, they called him, and she got childbirth fever or something. She got sick. Anyway, she had no milk for Daddy, but that black wet nurse fed my father, and you would think that there would be some kind of thankfulness there. I never heard that. I didn't hear that out of them. Matter of fact, they didn't care to talk about it, but she kept Daddy alive with her milk.
Tell me what it was like going out to dinner, going to the movies.
You take the
Okay,
theater.
where we lived in Buxton, Georgia, they had a theater, and his name, I remember his name and everything. He was a very nice man. The blacks had to sit up in the top, and the whites sit in the bottom. And it never bothered me or anything.
Didn't think about
The
it.
only thing is one
It was
night-
just so common. Y'all really just didn't think anything.
No, because they didn't come down, and they got what they wanted and go up, and and they had their own bathrooms and stuff, and it was just when the Ku Klux Klan came in one night. It was one Saturday night
At the movie theater?
No,
Oh, just-
they didn't go
Now,
in.
see,
They-
she's talking about something I don't know nothing about.
Okay, they was all dressed in the hoods and stuff, and
I never
because
saw
they
that.
said something about they didn't want him to ever said Kenny said, let the blacks start sitting down in
The movie
Wow.
theater owner was going to do that, and
well, they had heard something about that anyway, and all the Ku Klux Klan. Anyway, Irma, I think, then went shot to move to the roller rink that night, and so I wanted to go see. But I hadn't seen the movie. They have a movie changed every 2 weeks or something like that. So, and Mom said, "Well, I really that she not go up there tonight if there's going to be any trouble." And Daddy said, "Oh, there won't be no trouble." He said, "I'll be up there with her." And we got there. There was Ku Klux Klans everywhere. And he said, "I'll make sure she ain't gonna get hurt or nothing." Anyway, people come in and they started hollering at them or something. Anyway, the police come up there and made them leave. And we went in and watched the movie and everything. Come back out, couldn't see nothing nowhere. But after that, they did integrate. And as far as I know, I never heard of any problems after that. But I think he kind of woke the people work. See in a small town, and you knew some of these men with these hoods on, and it kind of just faded right on out, But I don't know of any of them ever getting hurt or beat or anything.
what were their, like, do you remember ever seeing what their bathrooms were like, their drinking fountains?
Oh yeah. All right now.
I
I
never went
remember-
upstairs. I never went upstairs.
No,
was
but this
told
is in Cresces. I was in Cresces with Mama, and I know you were probably somewhere just looking around. But this little black boy went up to the fountain, and he was real small. And they had the black, and they had one over to the side of white only. And he could not reach. He knew to go to the black one, And this woman that worked there, he went and pulled on her and says, "Ma'am, could you help me get some water?" And she said, she looked down at him like he was the scum of the earth and said, "Go get your black mammy to help you."
And this is just a little boy,
The little boy.
just a thirsty
and the
little
look on
boy.
his face was devastating. I remember that. And the bathrooms, the black bathroom and the white bathroom, you couldn't hardly stand to go past it. Nobody cleaned the black bathroom. But the white bathroom always smelled better. It was like clean. And there's so many things. I saw how they were treated. Like she was talking about the theater. The woman that done our popcorn and drinks, she'd take care of all the white kids first. They were standing in a line outside the window, on the sidewalk. They didn't come in where we were. They stood on a line outside the window. And when everybody was going out, she'd raise that window, and they'd hand her their money and tell them and she'd act like it was dirty, just like that. I remember how she looked. I was a teenager when all this was going on, And they'd get there. It didn't matter if it rained, cold, or anything. They stood out there to get their stuff, and then they'd go back upstairs with it. But oh, racism was running rampant.
Do you feel like how they're saying it is today compares to how it was then?
It's better today. We don't have all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Oh,
everything's
I,
open.
Chair, I differ. I mean, they have fought for their rights.
Yeah.
They have been the anger in the people. I understand the anger because they had been so mistreated for so long.
Mm-hmm.
They're being stopped by cops for no reason. Things like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for the history.
So, from the way they explain the whole thing, this gives me an impression that life now is better for Black people than it was way before. So, someone shared a story and they said, my mom told me this story about living in Chicago in the 40s and 50s. This was when Black kids weren't allowed in the swimming pools with white kids. Mom was a bookkeeper at a local company. All the accounting was done by hand and it was labor intensive. Two of the ladies she worked with were Black. Mom was in her early 20s at this time. One of the company Christmas parties went late. She'd been having a good time with her workers, co-workers, and their families. Her co-workers' brother offered to walk her home since it was a few blocks from her bus stop to home. He could just hop another bus and travel a bit more south to his home afterwards. Her initial instinct was to say yes. It would have been nice to have some company, but she declined because literally it could have put the younger man's life in danger to be seen walking at night with a white woman. She had a number of other stories too. She was from a working class family living with a lot of German Jewish refugees and such. I think it was called South Side even then. White Sox, North Clubs fans, the Black neighborhoods were just blocks away, but there was no interaction at all. She always hated the racism. Even then, she made sure her kids knew better. Speaking as a Black person, I wish to the heavens above that the hatred and the mistreatment of Black people were just limited to the 50s. In fact, the evil continues. Unfortunately, I do not want to give you an eyes on the prize history lesson, but this hatred has gone back further even than American slavery. But I can shed some light on the subject for the motivation for the virulent hatred of people of color. First, let me say that human beings are good at normalizing behavior that is not only inhuman and cruel, but is seen by them to be the right thing to do. I do not expect you to understand that because I do not. Anytime you can put people in a ship and pack them in like sardines for long stretches of time and then subjugate them to the absolute cruelty like the experience of slavery is just unthinkable. Now, the hatred was motivated by power, greed, and money. Black people were considered by them to be not human, so that subjugating them would ease their conscience. Unfortunately, they wanted to get backing of the God of the Bible to support their subjugation by the purification of the scriptures. They did not want to live beside or compete with blacks on an equal level with such ownership or the ownership of personal property. Lastly, the sinful depravity of human heart is so despicable that it would consider it a moral duty to subjugate and demoralize and dehuman another race. Well, some people say that they are basically good, but they do not match their godliness. They don't match their goodness against that of a holy God. He is the standard, okay? I don't know what you guys think about this, but I would love you guys to share your own thoughts on this. Share your takes in the comment section below. And please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.